Are you looking for a place to live? Well, you've come to the right channel, because today we are going to talk through the 5 most affordable areas to live around Indianapolis. So if you're on a little bit of a tighter budget, but you still want to get in on all the action around the Circle City, these are 5 communities that you should definitely take a look at. Let's take a look. So we have all types of videos on this channel where we look across the north side, the west side, east side, south side, all of Indianapolis, the city itself. We even go out further. And today we are going to specifically look at some of the areas around the city that are more affordable. So not specifically within Indianapolis, but around Indianapolis. Now, you'll see on some of these, I may be stretching what you call a suburb a little bit, but they're all still a very easy drive to downtown Indianapolis, so that's why they're here. All right, let's dive into it with number 5. Okay, so let's start with Mooresville, which sits in Morgan County, and this sits just southwest of Indianapolis. You keep going past Decatur, past Canby, you're gonna be in Mooresville area, and you can get there off of I-70 or Highway 67, and it, very convenient to get downtown from this area. Very easy to use the interstate system, but it is one of the more affordable areas around Indianapolis, but not the most affordable on our list for today. So let's take a dive into the stats. The median home price in Mooresville is $302,000, which is going to be 22% over the state median home price, and the median household income there is $70,000, just above, and it's about 8% off of the state median household income. Population of Mooresville is just over 10,000, and that's actually grown 6% over the last few years. So you see continued steady growth. 3 interesting facts about Mooresville. It's actually the home of the state flag, where Indiana's flag was designed in 1916. It's got Pioneer Park, which has over 100 acres of trails, playgrounds, and a splash pad. And being on the west side, it's close to the Indianapolis International Airport, which, if you watch this channel, you know is the best airport in the country, if not the entire world. It's amazing. If you travel frequently for work, Mooresville could be a really good place for you. It's going to be actually the most expensive area we look at on this list today, but that being said, it's still very affordable compared to other suburbs around Indianapolis. And something that I just feel compelled to mention, Mooresville is like the world capital, or at least definitely the state capital, one of the national capitals of like knee replacement, hip replacement. Like if you need joint work, that you go to Mooresville. That's where it's done. Just a shout out to their medical community there. So Mooresville is one of the smaller areas we're looking at today, with a population of just over 10,000 people. That doesn't mean it's not a great place to live. There's different types of housing there. If you're looking for existing homes that can be refurbished, you have that there. If you're looking for newer opportunities, that exists in Mooresville as well. And it's a very quick trip up to downtown Indianapolis. So if you're working downtown, but you're looking for something a little more affordable than other options on the west side, like in Plainfield, Avon, Brownsburg, or even on the south side with a lot of the areas of Greenwood, Mooresville could be a great option for you, and it's definitely worth looking into. Franklin, Indiana. That's right, Franklin, the city, not Franklin Township, the township of Indianapolis. Well, Marion County. So within this, where is Franklin? Franklin's on the south side. When I say the south side, it's on the south side. You got to go down the interstate a ways before you hit Franklin. But Franklin is a really nice community that's a lot more affordable than many of the other areas around Indianapolis. Let's dive into the stats. So the median home price in Franklin is $271,000. This is going to be a little bit higher than Indianapolis, Marion County. If you look at it compared to the state median home price, it's actually 10% higher than the state average. The median household income is $77,305, and that's about 0.8% above the state median household income. Franklin's got a population of just over 26,000 people. That's grown about 3.3% over the last few years. And some interesting facts about Franklin. It's actually where Franklin College is. This is a liberal arts institution that's been around like 200 years. We have the Art Craft Theater, where you can see classic films, in this restored venue. And they have the Franklin Fall Festival with crafts, food, and live music downtown. So just in general, Franklin's a pretty amazing place to live. It's not exactly a small town, but it's not a large city either. It definitely has a smaller feel than a lot of the areas around Indianapolis. So you really have to travel down the interstate a ways to get there. So if you're looking at, maybe commuting downtown, you're just going to go up 65 and back down 65 to get back to Franklin. And once you're in Franklin, it's pretty easy to move around because, like I said, the population is only 26,000. So if you're looking for somewhere that's not as big as like a Carmel or a Fishers or even a Greenwood, Franklin could be a really good option for you. There's all sorts of types of homes down there as well. There's new construction, there's historic homes, and there's everything in between. So no matter what you're looking for, Franklin could be a good fit, and it's going to be one of your more affordable fits around the city. Greenfield over in Hancock County, which sits east of Indianapolis. So if you're looking at the growth areas around Indy, we talk about Mooresville a lot on this channel, right? It's in the same county as Mooresville, but it's a little further out from the city, which is why you can take advantage of some of the affordability. And Greenfield has really grown up more over the last few years as it's become a popular area to move to, in part because of that affordability. Let's dive into the stats. The median home price in Greenfield is around $260,000, which means it's like 9 to 10% above the state median home price, but very comparable to a lot of areas around Indianapolis. The median household income is $74,949, and that's actually 2% less than the state median household income. Similar to Franklin, the population is just over 26,000, and that's actually up over 11% over the last few years. Like I said, Greenfield's really been growing over that time. Some of the interesting facts about Greenfield, it's actually the birthplace of James Whitcomb Riley, and it has a museum highlighting him there. There's also James Whitcomb Riley's home in Indianapolis as well. So if you're a fan of the Hoosier Poet, it's a good place to visit. You have Riley Park, which has an aquatic center, skate park, and even a tire playground. And there are historic downtown features like the Hancock County Courthouse, the annual Riley Festival for Arts and Culture. Really, Greenfield feels like its own city, and Franklin does too. And you'll see that across each of the ones we're talking about today, about most of them. They really are a little bit further out than what you would consider a typical suburb of Indianapolis. But these are still areas or cities all within the Indianapolis area. And that's what makes them really valuable looking at to live if you work in and around Indianapolis. And there's also employment opportunities in all of these places as well. Franklin has its own areas. Franklin has a thriving college. Greenfield is a pretty decent sized city and continuing to grow. There are opportunities in the area. So the vibe of Greenfield, it's very agrarian around the city, and it's a bit of an older city when you look at it, which you'll see is kind of a theme on this list. Franklin established quite a while ago. Greenfield established quite a while ago. That's not necessarily a bad thing. There's lots of areas for growth, and there's all sorts of housing there. There continue to be new builds in Greenfield as well, and there's really a wide spectrum of different types of homes in the area. I personally am a really big fan of both Franklin and Greenfield. I think they're great places to live and definitely worth your consideration. All right, let's keep getting more affordable. Now we're ready for number 2, which is not Whiteland, but New Whiteland. Let's go through some of the stats. The median home price in New Whiteland is only $222,000, which compared to the state median home price is actually 9.9% below the median. And the household income is higher than some of the other areas we've looked at around $89,000, which means that the residents of New Whiteland are getting a lot of bang for their buck relative to other areas that we've looked at. That median household income is actually 16% above the state median. And with the housing price being, over 9% lower than the state median, hey, that's a pretty sweet deal. Now, the population in New Whiteland is only 5,600 people, but we've seen that grow around 10 to 12% over the last few years. So it's definitely a surging area. And some of the fun facts about Whiteland are that it's actually a historic racing hub. So the Whiteland Raceway Park opened in 1960, and it still has go-karting events over 6 decades later. You have the whole dichotomy of having Whiteland and New Whiteland. They're incorporated separately, and they are neighboring towns despite being right next to each other. And this followed the rerouting of US 31. And from an accessibility standpoint, it's very easy to get to. So we talked about Franklin earlier. If you look just north on the map, Well, there you have it. You're in Whiteland and New Whiteland. And of these two areas, New Whiteland is going to be the affordable area that we look at today. So this is an expansion area of the South Side. We talk about emerging areas growing out of different markets all the time, right? I talked about Whitestown growing out of Zionsville. I talked about Westfield growing north of Carmel. I talked about McCordsville growing southeast of Fishers. And Whitelands is the example of that for Greenwood. So Greenwood is a huge, sprawling suburb on the south side. There's only so much space. You have to keep going as the demand is there. So if you keep driving south on 31 through Greenwood, you can get to Whiteland, New Whiteland, and of course you can get there off of 65 as well and just hop over. It's primarily a residential area, and so there's opportunities for affordable housing in New Whiteland and Whiteland for that matter. And as you can see by the stats that I read off, we are talking about affordable homes, much more affordable than the surrounding areas. So if you're thinking you want to live on the south side, maybe the prices in Greenwood or Center Grove or even Franklin are more than what you're looking to spend on a house, check out the New Whiteland area because there are going to be some great options for you, and it's very accessible. So if you're working downtown, if you're working on the south side, New Whiteland is definitely an area you want to check out. And our most affordable suburb / sort of nearby suburb of Indianapolis is Shelbyville, with a median home price of $220,000. That's nearly 11% below the median home price. And the median household income is actually the lowest of all the areas we've looked at today. It's $58,000. The difference between the state median household income is actually 23% below that state median. Now, the population of Shelbyville is just a tick under 21,000, but it has grown by 3.6% over the last few years, so you still see some modest growth. And some of the interesting facts about the area is it's home to the Indiana Grand Racing and Casino, which is just a little ways outside of town. And it's nicknamed the horseshoeing capital of the world because it had historic blacksmithing roots. And the Blue River Memorial Park provides disc golf, fishing, and extensive recreation, and there are plenty of parks all throughout Shelbyville. So Shelbyville's a little bit further out, as you've seen with a lot of these. To get there, you hop on 74 and drive. So if you live in Franklin Township, it's very easy to get to. So really, it's not too far outside of Indianapolis, but if you're getting downtown, you may have a little bit of a commute. Shelbyville is definitely like a standalone city. And we talked about Greenfield earlier. It's actually directly south of Greenfield. So if you hop on Highway 9, there you go. It's directly north and south of each other. And Shelbyville has its own vibe. It's very historic in nature. It's a really cool looking town. It's got a town circle in the middle. It's got a historic theater. It's got tons of parks. It's got grand Victorian homes from an age gone by, a lot of which are refurbished, or if you're an investor, they can be refurbished and they look really cool. So you really have a whole bunch of really neat historical feel all throughout Shelbyville. And it makes it kind of a unique place around Indianapolis. And I would say of the ones we've looked at today, Whiteland, New Whiteland, it's not too far off of Indianapolis. Mooresville, not too far off. You start to feel it, that distance a little bit more in Greenfield, in Franklin, and definitely in Shelbyville as well. These are really standalone cities. They're not true suburbs in the way that Carmel has a boundary with Indianapolis. I guess Shelbyville kind of does as well, but it feels differently because Franklin Township is a full residential area. There's not as much a commercial district down there. You really do feel the separate, unique cultural benefits of Shelbyville standing as its own unit. So if you're looking for somewhere that's maybe more affordable, a little bit further removed from the city, and you're getting the price benefit of it being further removed, Shelbyville could be that option. And as I mentioned with several of these, there are different types of houses in Shelbyville, and there are a ton of investment opportunities as well. So if you're someone who likes to house hack, if you're someone who likes to rehab homes, or even develop for rental, there are tons of opportunities in Shelbyville right now. And as you've seen, the population is still increasing, so there is demand to live in the area. So that is our look at the 5 most affordable areas around Indianapolis. If you're looking for somewhere different than the normal closer suburbs I talk about on this channel, you know, your Fishers, your Avon, Greenwood, these are some great options that are a little bit further out. They're kind of in the next ring of areas around Indianapolis. If you take it at 465, mostly containing the city, then there's a ring of suburbs. These are kind of in that next ring, that next orbit around the heart of Indiana. So if you're looking for somewhere to stretch your money a little bit further, maybe get a bigger house on a lower cost, these are areas where you should definitely consider. And as you can see, we're all over the place here. We're on the east, the southeast, we have 2 on the south side and 1 on the southwest. So especially if you're looking south or east, these are some areas you should definitely consider. So with that, I'm Evan Deal with the Lead Icon team at eXp Realty. And hey, I help people like you every day find their next home, sell their current home, or even find their next investment. And I would love to work with you as well. All my contact information is below. Definitely book some time on my calendar and let's talk through what you're looking to do. Thanks so much for watching. This is Living in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.